Okay, so we're looking at the wiper motor mechanism from a 91 to 96 GM B body, PAL SS, Roadmaster, what have you. So we're going to look at the park switch in this mechanism up here first and kind of get a feel for how that works. If you notice that little hole right there, there's a set of contacts. Right in the middle of the screen there's a hole and a set of contacts that are currently open. So right now this mechanism is in the park position, so the wipers are down, tucked under the cowl. And on the other side, this is kind of how the arm is. So there's a little eccentric in there that moves that back and forth. But then when it kicks out of that spot, it goes back into a rotating mode to oscillate the wipers. So I'm going to power this up and we're going to watch this run for a second. Then we're going to energize the middle terminal on the top here, which is pin B, as in boy. And that's going to pull in our relay, which will take it from kind of going in and out of park to actually going into a full wiping motion. So this is really just going in and out of park. It's just going back and forth, kind of oscillating a little bit, and just going in and out of park. So if you look at it this way, as this guy rotates around, you can see those contacts opening and closing. Every time it goes into park, those contacts open. Now, now, now. And as that little pawl goes up and down, you can see it move that arm inside of there, and that arm inside of there pushes those contacts open. I'll take a video of that switch separately here in a little bit. So what happens though is when you energize pin B, it pulls in a coil which pulls that arm away from the camera and holds it in with the contacts in the open position. So that allows that mechanism to go free and spin around in circles. I'm going to try and apply some power to pin B here quick. Actually, I'm going to do it with my finger. So when that goes up, now if the solenoid is energized, I'm doing it with my finger, but it's energized. Now this thing goes back and forth. Right, this guy is now spinning around, and now it's wiping. This is low speed. So it's just wiping in a circle. So when you set the wipers back to the off position, it de-energizes pin B, which releases this coil, which is what's going to happen when I let go of my finger here. So I'm going to let go. Now it's going to finish the wipe, catches that, and pushes that back up. And you see that contact open. When that contact open, it ultimately turns power off to the motor. I do not have that currently set up in this demo, but that's how that works. So I'll be back with you in just a minute to look at that wiper switch in a little more, or that park switch, I'm sorry, the park switch in a little more detail and how that works internally. Okay, so this is that park switch. I've labeled the terminals A, B, and C, so you can see it's the same thing as we had in the motor, just taken out and removed. So similarly, we can see as that mechanism pushes that up there, that pushes that back, and then opens and closes those contacts. So if you look at that from the bottom side, I can shine a little light on the subject here as well. You can see that mechanism. I'm going to move it with my finger back here. So as that pawl comes up from the gear inside, it pushes that in, ultimately opens that set of contacts right there, just like that. So if we take a look in there, we can see I'm getting good lighting down there. There, maybe. Right there it touches, and there it opens. There it closes and releases. So that's what happens down in there. So when that guy pulls in, it pushes that, puts it in park, and that's ultimately, when it goes into park right there, that's what breaks the circuit and makes the wiper stop when it hits that spot. Okay. So as that moves in there, it moves back, it pushes on that little plastic spot there, and opens the contacts, closes the contacts. Open, closed. Get the light just right in there and be able to see kind of what's going on. So the other thing that's a little bit tricky here, so it pushes it open, closed. So if we look at this from this angle, you can see this thing has a lot of play in it, and it is able to move up and down like that. So when that mechanism comes and pushes that guy back, it pushes those contacts open. So it stays there in the park position. As soon as you turn the wiper stalk, it applies power to pin B, which energizes the coil. When the coil energizes, it pulls that guy down. When it pulls it down, it lets go of that contact, and I haven't moved anything, and now those contacts are closed. So that's how that mechanism works. When it's in park, it's up and it opens the contacts and breaks the circuit, and the motor stops, and it stops in the park position. So it's off, and as soon as you turn the wiper stalk, the wiper's back on again. It pulls that down, those contacts close, and that starts the wiper motor. And then the mechanism catches up in the other video that we showed up in here. And this mechanism, it catches on there when that guy is pulled back. That allows that to go around instead of getting caught every time by the back of that pawl. When it catches, it just stays in park. But when you de-energize or you energize that, it's already pulled back, and then that pulls it down and connects the contacts together to power the motor, and then that spins around and it goes into the wiping mode. When you turn it off, the power to that relay goes off, that guy comes up, and it completes, that circuit stays closed until it completes the wipe. Then that pawl comes and pushes those contacts back open and powers the motor off. That's how it knows to stop in the park position. It's not timed or anything else. It's a mechanical switch. When it hits the park position, it opens the switch and the motor stops, and it stays there.